Welcome to Season 2 of Build and Grow, a series dedicated to helping businesses go beyond financial management to achieve financial growth, resilience, and innovation. As businesses continue to revive and pivot to new models in these times, your story is proud to partner with HSBC for another season of inspiring conversations, insights, and observations from some of the newest trendsetters in business and stalwarts of the ecosystem. Tune in to power your next phase of growth and business continuity.
Ramakant, we are very excited to be talking to you, you've been making news and for all the right reasons, also in the pandemic. So congratulations on your fundraise. Congratulations also on the growth that Livspace is seeing. But at this moment, I want to begin by asking you that the home space, the home design space, how are you seeing that evolve, and especially because of the pandemic?
Yeah, so I think maybe I'll little bit step back for a 30 seconds and then come back to your question. So I think home design and little bit looking at the original consumer behavior and the kind of a thought process where at the start I am in his head. So it's like this. In India, basically, there are three major use cases. People buy home almost like a half of their life's savings or a home loan kind of a thing. Home prices in country in a metros especially vary from 60, 70 lakhs to 3, 4 crore price point. And for odd regions, all the home sellers who are real estate developers are selling bare shell homes. These homes are actually have no kitchen, wardrobe, no lights, AC, bathrooms, curtains, as basic as the paint is also not there. So
Yeah.
what we as a consumers are buying from our lifetime savings is a 80% complete product.
Yeah.
So this is very strange thing. Have you bought a 80% complete mobile phone ever in your life? So this time you have done one of the costliest purchase probably of lifetime, which is once you wait for it. Typically, people book it 3, 4 years before in advance. 3 years later, real estate developers hand over a home to the end consumer for final use. And when they hand over, it is not ready to use. It is 80% complete. The consumers have to really get all especially the kitchen, wardrobe, the fit out furniture, and then they slowly buy the movable furniture. What I mean by movable furniture is table, chair, dining table, bed. They can buy a piece at a time. But very few things like fixing a AC, geyser, tube lights, kitchen, wardrobe, curtains. This has to be done to really make it ready to live. So that is a one prominent need and a consumer behavior where consumers are really wanted. There is no doubt on that use case. Second use case is event driven. We have events in our life. Like one event is we move a home from place one to two. The moment you move, you change curtains typically, paint in most of the time. Sometimes things get damaged in between. Third classical event in India is marriage. If anybody who is having a marriage in family might end up renovating or some degree of touch up of the home. Kids' worth, we have seen at least a one kid room getting renovated. So
Mm.
these are actually event driven need at the first place, or maybe circumstantial need, which means you live in a home which your parents bought, which is a 40, 30 years old home. Now you are a software engineer or working in a bank. Probably real estate prices has gone to that extent where buying a new home is very difficult. So rather the next generation is renovating kitchen, wardrobe, getting the home a little bit more modern looking. So this is more of a social need. And if you now holistically look at the overall need of the furniture space in the industry, given these 3, 4 use cases, I think 80% of the Indian market size confines around these. We do not
Yeah.
buy furniture like the way we buy shoes, t-shirt, a coffee, laptop, or a phone. Furniture lifetime in India is typically 5 years to 10 years. Like if you buy a a dining table, you live with it for minimum 5 years. A couch you buy, nobody changes it in less than 5, 7, 8 years. In fact, I've seen cases where beyond these events, it is something that doesn't come in your mind in general.
Yeah.
So that's where Livspace as a company started from this. This is a need which typically a furniture shop, which is either offline or online, doesn't solve. Consumer is asking, I have got a home from so and so builder. I have a XY 10 lakhs, 8 lakhs budget. Can you do my kitchen, wardrobe, curtain, paint? I don't want to go to furniture shop at this point of time. Once you do this, maybe I'll go to a furniture shop as an upsell, or that's the gradual purchase. But once you fill in the furniture, like in my case, actually Livspace started with my own use case. I bought a home in Bangalore and I was exiting Mintra and trying to do new things. And that was the first time I had some money and bought a home. And it was probably not probably, most certainly was the costliest purchase I ever made. And the second most costliest purchase was actually the interior of the same home. So I think, and there was no answer to it. It is massively fragmented industry. And you trust somebody like a contractor or somebody referred you a person to whom you gave, or I gave at least 17 lakhs rupees, for which I didn't have even a call center number. Nobody. This guy is like is really someone very hard to trust with. And this is the situation for one of the largest purchases we make in our life. And that's where I think the platform like us originated. We tried solving this problem by understanding the problem first. So I think we were pretty clear on the need side, that what is the need and why a furniture showroom, online or offline, can't solve it. Then the question is, what is the second best alternate which is solving it currently, which is interior designers, architects, some cases contractors, freelancers are solving this problem. But the problem is not solved in terms of consumer experience. There is a discrepancy on price points, major trust issues on time, quality, and money, all three dimensions of the delivery. And then I think personally, we as a founders met almost like a more than 100 designers and we interviewed. We were wondering whether they are not good professionals themselves, they do not have a sense of pride on the work they do, or it is something else. Maybe few of them are not good professionals, but by and large, despite of their maximum effort of making this happen, there are many moving parts on supply chain. To make a home, they have to go on an average 30 shops, really do the material selection, manage carpenters, do a project management. So it takes, many variables to control. And in the end, the slip on time, the quality and money is very, unavoidable kind of a situation. So we started the business thinking how we can solve these three problems. And and the economic value of this problem is immense. It's almost like a 20 to 30 billion dollar market, depending upon how you cut it. And it's a almost 12 to 15% of the overall real estate you buy, which means if you buy a 1 crore worth of home in India, typically you tend to invest 12 to 15 lakhs worth of money on the interiors of the same home. So that is the on the new home side, and the larger market is on renovation. That is almost like a same size or 1.5 times bigger than the new home market. So I think the market is somewhere between 20 to 30 billion dollar worth solving problem. It's a huge economic problem, huge consumer pain, real need, and this is more or less lifestyle issue for Indians buying home. So I think this is where we started. We grew pretty fast. So now coming back to your question, how this behaved in COVID, I think two things happened. One is it was early days of COVID, which was March and April, last week of March, when actually the country announced the lockdown. Maybe a week before that, we didn't know what is COVID. We were hearing it that it's there outside India. But I think March and then April is the time when we realized that probably we are in a business which is very discretionary. Consumers might not do any home renovation, do not buy any furniture. That was our assumptions, and it might take a year to recover. There was a thought process that it might be a V-shaped recovery or a W recovery or a might take 18 months to recover. And that is where I think we started replanning the business. We were in a very, very fast trajectory. I don't know the precise numbers of that, but probably we were the country's largest interior design platform at that point of time in terms of numbers. We were probably the largest kitchen selling company combined both offline and online. You compare us, even not only the internet company, even the largest offline company, we were the larger than that. But then, for being a little bit more pessimistic and conservative on the demand, we planned very a slow growth and a slow recovery kind of thing for ourselves. But what we observed is somewhere around May end and June, the organic searches and the demand on the platform for home renovation is all of a sudden gone to like 70% of Feb, and now it is actually more than Feb in October. So what I think, maybe two, three things. We are staying more at home. So naturally, the value prop which we are offering was what? A good looking home. Livspace homes are the most good looking homes in the country, for sure. In fact, the second best home maybe can't be compared. That is the confidence I have. So I think the good looking homes, the aesthetics, the functionality about these well designed homes probably got much more appreciation and sensitivity during these times when we are staying almost 24 hours at home. So the consumers really came up with requirements like, and then some more new requirements. The kitchens typically have now larger storage spaces than they were asking for because they're buying more groceries, more things. Probably earlier, in many cases, the owners were not cooking, but now they themselves are cooking. The wardrobes now are being used more. I think the new things like home office is really needed because you need a place to take a call, and everybody is on call full day nowadays. Then couple of things we tried. One, we are still trying home gym in collaboration with CureFit. So a couple of things we actually new things came in, and to our surprise, the value prop of our things has actually increased. And this is on the top of the funnel, which is consumers comes to us for requirement, is now exceeded February already. So this is, I think, we gone through a point where we stopped the marketing and paused our factory operations and installations, and again bounce back to that point. Yeah.
I'm saying this is so heartening and so encouraging to hear, no? And Ramakant, when you're saying this also, thank you first of all for taking us through the live space, what it does and how relevant it is, because somewhere we don't understand that how big the market is and how deep are the opportunities. But coming back to this, that what you're saying is also in a way encouraging for the Indian economy. It's encouraging that yes, there is bounce back happening, there is consumption happening, and it is going to go back, which people are saying that next fiscal we should see an 8.8% growth in the GDP. But I also want to understand that the consumption that you're seeing, and to understand from you is that there's this other side of the story, right, where people are saying that the commercial spaces, real estate spaces, and we've been speaking to real estate builders and entrepreneurs, and they're saying that there has been a stagnation in that. Second is that people are buying homes, but again, slow and steadily coming back, but keeping it as second home, and that thing, that bounce back in a full way is not being seen. Looking at that as a background, what do you have to say in terms of the growth?
Great question. I think that's a great point. My sense on this, obviously, we are not much into commercial interiors as a company, but we do have an eye on it. We sort of have a very small business unit for commercials as well. And we definitely see less number of requirements on the commercial renovation, almost zero. But I think for us, commercial is a very insignificant part of the business. And there is ongoing projects which are still on. We are doing one of the large commercial project, which was actually no, we can't stop in between. There's a work happening, and there's a like large work. But on the home side, there's a two things to understand. One is the sale of the home. Second is the position of a home. So
Hmm.
whatever position you are getting, COVID or without COVID, probably all of these homes has been bought 4, 5, 3 years back. There is a position lag from purchase is 3 to 4 years. So we have a decent amount of position homes in a new home, and renovation home, people are living at home. So I think the need for renovation is not gone away. The third, which is very important aspect, is consumers have some degree of financial uncertainty, which is actually leading us to more orders. And why? This is a little bit counterintuitive, but I'll tell you why. So let's say someone who is buying home first time is living in a rented building at currently. So the moment they get a position, they get actually two costs on their head. One is EMI for the new home and the rental payment for the place they're already living in. That creates a need of urgency to get the new home, at least the kitchen and a curtain and a basic paint done and move on, so that they really save on rent. So most of our consumers are living somewhere rented and bought a home. And there, the moment this event happens, the position, the interiors really become important and urgent from financial point of view also. So all these three reasons, the position numbers, the living more at home, so getting really the sensitizing towards home, getting furniture needs is very natural. I think and the third maybe little bit, the kind of consumers we are catering to, especially living space in metros and tier 2 cities, are slightly upper middle class or middle class customers. They are really not the customers who basically our customers will be somewhere earning at least a 50,000 a monthly salary. My sense is
Hmm.
that customers earning less than that is not much of a live space customer. We are offering launching a different solution for affordable segment of the consumers. So I think net we see a data which is completely counterintuitive, and upsets of the leads and orders and everything is more. And the biggest reason I see is this balancing out of EMI and rent, because everybody is living in a some building and paying a decent rent in all the cities, whoever were all the consumers, and at the same time they bought home position. The moment they get, they want to get rid out of it. So this is, I think, another consumer behavior, and my sense is it will continue.
Yeah.
Third,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
emotional, which is nothing to do with COVID. In general, horizontal investment in home, as I'm using the word investment, not expense. So kind of a thing. Actually, the consumers think that it is an asset. It's a very Indian this thing. The home is never falls in a liability bucket of most of us, because the parents and everyone has told us to think home is an asset. And in fact, if you look at the culture where we do not throw old furniture, we really wants to use it. So it's a kind of an investment. I have seen some of the consumers talking about like अच्छा घर है हमारा, हम इसमें 10 लाख लगा के और सुंदर बनाएंगे. So
Hmm.
they're not thinking it is very similarly the way you think buying a pizza and going for a movie or a coffee. Yeah, this is your short an expense, or buying a t-shirt. So I think we basically it goes to the point where we have seen consumers who take loans to get these solutions done, and their mind it's a clear asset purchase, which
Yeah.
is I think little bit corroborative of the fact of quality of life also, because I give this example. See, even if you are in a rented home, we have seen those cases also. You wants to really design your living room, bedroom nicely. Uh, Obviously, the COVID is a very different emotion, but in general, the kind of upgrade on lifestyle is a theme. And what we sell is, we are a lifestyle company. We do not really say, consumers do not come to us to buy a couch. In fact, probably we are not the right place to buy a couch. we are a right place to get a nice living room. And living room is something which tells about you, something you can do post 11 p.m. party, you invite your friends, and we sell, there's a city waivers also. So bathroom remodeling is more in NCR, living room integration, more and more living room sales is in Bangalore nowadays. So I think, and this is very, obviously there is a price point where somebody is upgrading at 3 lakhs and there's a case which is upgrading at 1 lakh, but still consumer is buying a living room
Yeah.
or a bedroom. So those upgrade of lifestyle, and when I say upgrade of lifestyle, it is both aesthetic and functionally. They really like let's say my parents bought a bed which is misfit in the room. You can't walk in the one corner. They lived with that for 5 years, or maybe I don't know, 15 years. But nowadays the consumers have changed. The aspirations and the happiness and the kind of thought process is more about lifestyle. So we definitely add value to any our consumers lifestyle. So I think that's the business we are in. So my sense is slightly aspirational, functional, and the class of investment, emotion, and fear of paying both EMI and rent. It's a combination of all these things makes us really grow even in COVID. That is the assessment we could take from the data and what's happening. And I think that's right also in my opinion,
Mm.
because all the lifestyle businesses behave that way. I have been part of a fashion business. We buy more clothes than we need, for sure.
Yeah.
We buy more cosmetics than we need, and sometimes it's never in a very urgent scenario, but still we want our bathroom to look good, our bedroom to look good. We really wants to buy nice furniture, but I can delay the decision maybe a month. That's a definitely not urgent. COVID might have made some of these things urgent, like office furniture, the living room, because you're using these things, kitchen, more than you're using before. But I think in general, uh, these are the emotions around, and human emotions are more powerful than anything which triggers to the buying or any feeling around, meeting to a designer at the first place.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what a what a very deep and true insight, because also when you were saying this, I was thinking that today homes for a change have also become very important in the segment that you're talking to, because people are working from home and they're now more and more aware about their environment, their surroundings. And that's why they'll also be making sure that their living rooms, their spaces look like themselves. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely, you made a very strong point. That's where the brand comes into play. The actually consumers tell कि मैंने अपना घर लिव स्पेस से कराया है. That
Hmm.
is something which is social and very much their own image of the home, and and I think functional also, because sometimes you're sitting, lamp is not working, couch is not comfortable, chair is not comfortable, you might get a backache. So it's both. It's a combination of functionality, price point, and that brand and looking yourself in your home kind of a feeling. So it's a combination of all three. I think
Yeah.
which really corroborates and triggers the emotion of going through this kind of a interior design and renovation journey.
Yeah. Ramakant, I want to ask you this, is that, again, the debate around value conscious and price conscious and quality conscious, there's so many definitions now that is evolving when it comes to Indian consumers. In with Live Space, I know that I'm getting quality, I know I'm getting variety, I know I'm getting, convenience. Definitely all these things together, because you're bringing that to the Indian consumers. I want to understand, how do you look at the business? And if I may ask, from your business, from a gross margins perspective.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. That's a great question. So I think, see, my sense on Indian consumer is India is actually a large country and various cross section on multiple dimensions of these users, whether you take on their earnings, their profession, maybe regional, if the taste change from south to north to east to west. It is a large country, but what I have seen, I don't have much of true consumer experience, but consumer internet I've seen last 13 years being a founder at Livspace and Vintra experience and doing multiple angel investment. My sense on this is, this country is completely supply constrained country, which essentially means you have consumers for value, you have consumers for luxury, you have consumers for affordable. You have to really offer things for matching for each of these need, which is actually very appropriate to their need. Which means if somebody says, let's say there's a price point on which, obviously there is a price point sensitivity, but every price point there are consumers who happily buy a kitchen from 5 lakhs to 10 lakhs. There's a consumer segment who thinks 3 to 5 lakhs kitchen is good enough. And we do sell a kitchen of 1 lakh rupees. So what is the beauty of a platform like us or any horizontal platform, basically horizontal within the home design, we obviously not outside that space. We are not really sticking to a one offering. We are a platform where sell kitchen starting from 1 lakh to maybe 11, 12 lakhs price point. That is the beauty of these platforms who I can give you a couch costing 30,000 rupees and 5 lakhs rupees, and in between 1 lakh rupees and a 2 lakh rupees. So now the good part about Indian consumers are, for some way they are very smart. They are able to figure out they really want to buy a 1 lakh couch, neither the 5 lakhs not the 30,000. There will be consumers who will buy 30,000 rupees consumers on Diwali sale, the couch on Diwali sale. But those consumers are very important because that is the segment which gives you larger terms, very good gross margins. So in general, I think the platform like us has to be offering wider choices on price point, quality, color choices. Color choices also vary from Delhi to Bangalore. The kind of furnitures, the kind of bed we sell, the kind of kitchen finishes we sell. So that's the beauty of an internet-led interior designer. Then an offline designer cannot offer more than 20 designs. But for my kitchens, I'm offering almost 200 colors. You can't find a showroom in the country which offers 200 colors of kitchens. Because the theoretical real estate on internet is infinite, almost. So we can show more options, more choices, more warranty. We can manufacture them in a very scalable, large scale manner. So those are the things I think makes us as a more holistic platform. Coming to your gross margins, see, furniture by and large is a very fragmented market. Not only the kitchen wardrobe, the movable furniture is also massively fragmented. And the issue with the fragmented is, how do you make margin? The biggest lever of a margin is you need to really buy cheaper first. Your cost has to be the least. That is the first mathematics on building gross margin. The moment it is fragmented, the largest buyer is also buying very small amount, the largest producer also. So the aggregator like us, probably we are the largest buyers to many OEMs in the country. The largest is probably us. For instance, some of the European hardwares, many ply companies, many, laminate companies. So I think your buying becomes bulk buying and you start getting volume advantages. That's one. Second, the difference, fundamental difference is most of the e-commerce portal sells of brands. Like if you go to Myntra, you might find selling Levi's, Puma, Adidas, Nike. And in a value chain of margin means a product gets, let's say, built at a X price and being sold to the consumer to 5X. It is 80% margin. Typically, I've seen this 80% margin structure of a value chain. 75% of 80 goes to the brand itself, and 25% of 80 will go to the retailer who is selling on the internet. So if I start selling any brand's product, probably we will be in a 30-35% margin business. But the good part is home you can't recall brands. If I ask you a question, how many brands product you have at your home, in rare circumstances consumers are able to recall Asian Paint. Beyond that, you can't tell me the brand of your curtain, brand of the chair you are sitting on, brand of your kitchen, couch. It's a completely space which has got large stem, large economic value, and very few brands in place. So the brand for consumer is retailer. We are the brand.
Yeah,
If you ask the question, this kitchen is Livspace kitchen. This wardrobe is a Livspace wardrobe. It's a Livspace curtain. So I think in our value chain, a platform like us tends to command 75% of the entire value chain. Whatever margin in the entire value chain, which your dealer, distributor, manufacturer, retailer makes, that is I call it a summation of the margin. It's a net sum zero game. If your dealer makes more, you will make less. It's a most of the supply chains are designed like this. So there is a value chain. You really have to create value and extract value towards yourself from the others. Summarize the entire value chain of gross margin, 75% of that almost remains to us, and 25% goes to the rest of the elements of the value chain. So
that's a
I think
very,
that way it is a very lucrative business, because but difficult to build, because then see in that case, I just keep taking this example because Nike is a very a favorite brand of mine. In that case, Nike is doing all the work of making shoe. They have to do all the research, really make a nice shoe, and the job of the retailer is just to sell it. In fact, Nike has over convinced the consumers already. So it's an easier job. In our case, we need to really build a supply chain, manufacture kitchen, and then sell also. Hence, it's like we are making the product and we are selling the product. So we command the 75% of the value chain. It's a vertically integrated platform. The beauty of that, it's a difficult to build, but you get more gross margins. Second biggest advantage is once you have manufacturing and a deep vertical supply chain setup, you can launch multiple brands of a various price points. Like the I was talking about a platform like Neo we have recently launched. There we can sell a kitchen worth 1 lakh rupee, 2 lakhs, 3 to 5, 3 lakhs, to maybe a 15 lakhs worth of kitchen on the platform. That's the advantage of it. It's like Nike launching 5 SKs of shoes, starting from price 1 to 2 to 3. The same kind of a capability, if you are vertically integrated platform, understand the category deep down, uh, has those advantages of launching the multiple brands of the same product and the gross margin. Yeah.
so one of the things that now that you're saying this, the thought that comes to mind is that in your business for Live Space, one of the very big component, or not component, but very big element to your business's success would be the brand, right? The trust in the brand, the association with the brand, a consumer's affinity to the brand, because your competition, would be basis, because you are providing quality, you have the vertical integration, you have the robustness to execute and to deliver variety and convenience. But tomorrow, one of the things where people could compete and would be competing would be on the pricing and the brand. So I want to understand from you, how do you look at the Live Space story itself?
Yeah, no, Shraddha, I think great. So I think brand is something which I think differentiate us from everyone. For some reason, I think again maybe the reason is unorganized structure of the industry itself. There are very less brands in the market who can
Hmm.
be like, if I ask you how do you compare us with three brands, maybe you'll not find the fourth name. So this is definitely a space which had no brands per se, because we built on carpenters, freelancers, very unorganized industry. But brands definitely gives us a pricing power, trust, and quality controls. And this is reflection of, I think, vertical integration, the things we stand for. We stand for things like transparency in price. Transparency in price is a huge issue in this industry. In fact, like nobody knows what's the price of a table I'm using. So I think the that answers your question. your competition question also. This is not going to be a very apple to apple comparison on any product. It's really hard, and I think to compare a couch versus another couch, the way we could mobile phone is continue to remain very hard. So anybody who is and have its own unique designs and manufacturing should be able to really handle the competition, because there is no apple to apple comparison on these products at all. A couch looks like a couch to another couch, but if I say this couch is 27,000 and another couch is 28,000, can you really debate the way you can for a mobile phone or a book? You can't, because this 28 might be for something. Maybe it's a better quality fabric, some better craftsmanship, or maybe a foam is better in that couch, or maybe the in our case the relevant example will be kitchen. If I tell you this kitchen is 3 lakhs versus a 3.2 lakhs, it's a it's a really two different products for sure. That's why it is 3.2. But I think the direct competition or a price war is difficult in the industry. What is more important for the industry is really able to deliver something which you stand for. You see, all of us have started with the one notion that market is unorganized. The question to ask is, have you organized it? Or it is going to remain unorganized. The moment it is unorganized, we have not solved the problem from where we started. So I think my sense is combined all organized players are, I might be wrong on this, but around 10-12%. 88% market is still unorganized. So we have a long journey to cover and really make it organized. The moment we have a larger chunk on organized market, we'll get larger volumes, better processes naturally, better gross margins. And I think that's where multiple brands in this space will emerge. We remain one of the, I think, the first mover and the largest brand so far. Just to give you a market size sentiments, my sense is on this space, online home design, we must be around 70% of the market share, roughly. So this is not really majority, it's a majority by far. And our responsibility is to really uh, the brand's responsibility now are to stand for those things, the quality we have delivered, the transparency on price, the offering multiple choices to our consumers, and continuously improving it. With time, I think the trends on homes is not really as fast moving as fashion, but it has fashion element, it has supply chain element, it has functional elements, because it is going towards the smart homes. Many new things are going into homes now. And even the if you look at the types of curtain, maybe now, before starting Livspace, I only knew one type of curtain. Now probably I have seen at least two types of curtains. So I think there is a, a category which is huge, large, and and it will continue. And our responsibility of early brands is to maintain that and even grow and really stand for it. So, and this is a reflection on everything we do. We to give more transparent thing. Just to add, I think there was no need for us to go a little bit offline and open our experience centers. But every city we operate in, consumers used to ask us, can I see any other home which you have done in past? So we used to connect them to the existing customers. But this becomes completely non-scalable process. So we opened experience centers that why don't you visit this place? Go see some of the products. Obviously, experience centers can't display everything we have. So they
Yeah.
are not still the retail stores. We don't sell anything through experience centers. But still a degree of trust and a tactile experience they offer to the consumers. So I think that the brands has to solve the trust problem by doing multiple things together.
Yeah. Talking to you, Ramakant, I feel that it's so much of learning, so much of understanding. in the space that you are in, and if I may use one of the words, is in the the growth of deep vertical uh, commerce in India, e-commerce, if I may say so, in India with Livspace. And we can go on, and I can talk to you, and maybe I'll come offline and we should have a discussion, because you give such a, you tell it in such a simplified and deep way that one gets an understanding of the whole space. But I thought, but now I want to ask you, because we have to end. Now I have to ask you this question. Uh, Building live space, because you've been in Mintra, you've been an investor, and that comes across, by the way, when you talk. All your past comes across. Isn't, what is it? The challenges I can imagine in the space in what you're building would be so many, so many, and I wouldn't like to go there right now, because we are all dealing with some challenges. But right now, I want to understand that if you have to say today that in spite of all the challenges, in spite of all the hardships, this is what I've enjoyed consistently while building live space, what would that be? And today, if I have to look forward, this is what is keeping me excited, what would that be?
So I think so the biggest excitement on this space is, I think, see, there's a very strong correlation of in a complexity with the size of opportunity. This is one of the most complex solutions I have designed in my career so far, and really making this through the entire vertically integrated supply chain, which is very, deep dive to supply chain, to designer community, design tools, to consumer experience. It's a very holistic solution, which is a large problem to solve. So I think my sense on this problem is, maybe in the 1 to 100 journey we are 10. So I think I really want to take the journey to 100, and that keeps me like wake up every day. And I think it's a really worth that problem which we should take to 100. And this is a problem which will definitely change not only the homes look in India. Trust me, homes in India doesn't look great. And the way Indians thinks about home. Second, the professionals, not, it's about ecosystem. If you look at the ecosystem, people related to home, the kind of factories work on, they are all MSME, mid-sized factory. The largest kitchen factory in the country would be 100 crore company. Most of the furniture companies will be 10 crore, 5 crore, 20 crore turnover companies spread across the
Yeah.
country. You look at the solution providers, more than 70% designers are women who have dropped the career because of the complexity. Like, to make a one home design complete, it might take them 6 to 9 months, dealing so many carpenters, plumbers, electricians, contractors, project managers, shopkeepers. So I think there was no one who is really helping this ecosystem: consumers, designers, architects, contractors, OEMs, manufacturers, supply chain. Let's say you make a nice cow sitting in Jaipur. It's very hard for you to really sell that cow. You make a nice piece of art, and I'm not talking about the art, a premium gallery art, art which can be sold at 5,000 rupees. Can you suggest one or two places where you can sell that art in this country? The another question is the no art buyer. So then the we are talking about, then it's a zero market. But I think there's a long tail products all across the country, which we need to really bring on single platform, large scale supply chain, including kitchen wardrobe, and for some, a smart combination of these things is called home. So we are, as I said, maybe 10 out of 100 scale journey. So that keeps me continue.
You know, I think you'll looking with all where you are and the determination, and then also the purpose. Ramakant, of the journey, because I was just thinking the more you do better, the more you grow towards from whatever number. I'm sure it's not 10, it's much higher. But the more you grow as Live Space, the more the ecosystem grows. So many entrepreneurs grow, right? Like, because not only you are creating more structured way and more value and more meaning for consumers in India, but you're also creating a lot more entrepreneurs, micro entrepreneurs, SME entrepreneurs, ecosystem entrepreneurs.
And COVID has told us the world is so connected. It's actually a connected node of economy. It's an ecosystem where I think if a home is not really purchased, maybe I don't know how large is the value chain which get impacted, starting from a wood company to a hardware company to a paint company to a designer's life. Secondly, the people involved in the process. If we create these, talk about these micro entrepreneurs, I think that's very critical because every entrepreneur on an average basis creates 5 to 10 more jobs in the country,
Yes.
and they're related to each other. And that's such a complicated relationship, which is, I think, it's very hard to model. And I've a little bit studied economics. It's a more complicated than we think. It's a flow of material and flow of money. And you block a node in the value chain. The impact is seen maybe on the 10th node, which is completely unrelated to you.
Yeah.
You never realize like what is happening because of your one action. So I think we truly believe we are an ecosystem play
Yeah.
in terms of participants. I think the lives we touch upon so far, more than 50,000 interior designers are registered on the platform. Any given point of time, more than 10% of those are active and doing projects, more than 5 6,000. We work with close to 14 15 factories. Each one of these factories employ somewhere between 800 to 1,000 employees. So another 15,000 people gets employed. Then we have almost 2,500 people working directly for Livspace. Then we have partner installers and contractors, more than 500 contractors with their own employee. So maybe the company touch upon lives of a 1 lakh or more than that, 100,000 people. Yeah, and that is again something which we think we're changing the way a carpenter used to work before Livspace. If you see a Livspace carpenter, he's very different than I've seen many carpenters. At least this guy has a shoes, this guy has a t-shirt, this guy has a uniform, this guy has all the instruments needed to really work as a carpenter, a plumber. In fact, first time in the country, we made the earnings predictable. If you
Wow.
ask a carpenter that how much money you are going to make, probably in this month, they'll not be able to answer you how much money they'll make in November. Or if
Wow.
you ask the same question to a freelance interior designer, it's a hard question. But Livspace gives you that predictability because of aggregation of the demand. Orders has been allocated to you. We have given most of the our partners that will give minimum, X number of customer leads to you in a month. Doesn't matter what happens. And how we could promise this, because the power platform brings on demand generation. A typical Livspace partners get somewhere close to 20 customers lead every month.
Wow.
And depending upon certain conversion mathematics we understand, we keep fine tuning these numbers. But I think this is the predictability on their job, sense of pride of their job, and the kind of other things a ecosystem offers is much. See, stand alone, none of us is important, but together in this ecosystem, each node becomes so critical to each other, and it's a counter dependent, and it nicely worked out for everyone.
Wow.
So
This
I
is
think
so inspiring. Like, listening to you today, I'm just we're getting the other side and so many sides to Live Space. Otherwise, you just see it as a online home design marketplace, but it is an ecosystem. It is a huge, huge ecosystem, uh, not for just consumers and Indians, but for the country that you're building. Yeah.
absolutely, and I've not seen such platform even outside India. So that is where we really thought through to take the platform to start with Singapore and then Southeast Asia. And our next uh, geographical expansion It's obviously in India tier 2 cities, so we are going to next 30 cities, like cities like Jaipur, Kochi, Lucknow, Ahmedabad, and Southeast Asia as an international expansion. So I think this solution, to our knowledge, doesn't exist anywhere. Now I think the new startups are coming. They, for our pleasant surprise, calling themselves live space of this region. So this is like, I think gives at least a feeling that somewhere we were addressing a right need, and there's a, you know, a real understanding on the consumer expectations from whatever research we have done. So I think these things keep us moving, and we will continue to working towards it.
Wow, very, very inspiring, Ramakant. Very inspiring story of Livspace, what you're building. And though you've given very humbly the number 10 in your journey of 100, but we think that you've already created huge, massive impact. But may you continue, because this is impact for India and for Indians. And before I let you go, very quickly, because we are talking for Money Matters show, what has money meant to you personally?
Okay, so I think, see, great question. So my sense on money is twofold. One is, I think uh, it's a means to achieve choices, open doors, do many things which we want to bring as a change. But before that, I'd say personally there is a two aspects to money. I call this is a poverty loops. Poverty loops meaning after you cross a loop, like below a certain money, I think you'll not be really able to do the things which you want to do. But after that, the marginal utility of money diminishes significantly, and it really, I think, becomes more of a responsibility of deploying it to the right hands. So basically, money should be working. My sense is the two parts of money. One is, if somebody doesn't have money to buy internet today, that person is definitely poor. I'm not talking about government of India poverty line, because you'll have less information, which could have been freely available to you, and you're less informed, less capabilities. You'll not be able to afford things like health and basic. Hence, there's a lots of value to money. In fact, I'm a big fan of subsidies. I really wants to think through this. So I've seen both type of economic theories. One which really are against the subsidies, one are in favor. But I keep giving this example: why a farmer who has got, let's say, 5,000 rupees from somewhere is not buying fertilizer thinking that he'll get more crop production. He'll not, because in this 5,000 rupees, probably he'll try to buy and something to minor to celebrate that Diwali.
What you've said about money is again so. I think everyone needs to hear about money. And love what you said. Money has to work, and it has to work to create impact. Otherwise, money after a point has marginal utility. Thank you. Thank you. This is very, very powerful, Ramakant. And then we hope to have more conversation with you, because I think, now I'm just getting to the depth of what you're building with Lip Space is so building so many different segments of India, and so many different, and so much of employability and entrepreneurship also, while giving value and meaning to consumers. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot for taking.
Thank you. Pleasure talking to you. Thank you.